Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala Ahl Bayt Tayyibin at-Tahirin. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. If you remember last session, we spoke about the events of Ghadir. And this short series is meant to address the events of Ghadir and what really happened, for us to realize the truth of Ghadir. But it's not just a celebration that we go to the mosque and we do a few prayers and we give some sweets to one another, or we wear nice new clothes. No, there's a lot more to it than just this. I ended by saying that a very short story about Allama Amini, who in Karbala, when the procession of Ashura was taking place and people beating their chests and their heads and crying and using even chains for their backs, that a Sunni person who was watching turned to Allama Amini, not knowing who he was, and said to him, "What are these people doing? Isn't it a bit extreme that they're beating their chests and their heads and their face and so on and so forth for something that has just taken place, now whatever it is that's happened?" Allama Amini turned to him and said that if we Shia acted this way in response to the events of Ghadir, then your Sunni ulama would not have had the guts to write the amount of fabrications and lies about Ghadir, to make it seem like a very small event, where even one narrator says wa kada when he talks about what the speech of Ghadir was. Now the speech of Ghadir was, as I said in the first lecture, an hour 10 minutes long. Yet over here, he comes and says, wa kada. And he said some stuff, the Prophet. He just said some stuff. What stuff? Now, these people have done well to pull the wool over our eyes, to make us forget Ghadir, or to put it aside, for us to misunderstand Ghadir and to take it lightly. Now, Allama Amini then goes on to say that if that's how we defended Ghadir, the same way how we defend Ashura, then your ulama would not have done this. And if we acted the same way that we acted for Ghadir, for Karbala, in other words for Ashura, that we took it lightly, that we didn't do what we were supposed to do and defend it the way we were supposed to defend it, then your ulama would have come and written a whole load of lies about Imam Hussein alayhi salam. That, oh yeah, he was going to, for instance, I don't know, Karbala, he was going to another city, he was going to another country, and he forgot to pack enough food, so he died on the way from starvation. That there was no battle, that there was no mass murdering, that there was no oppression, that there was no trying to extinguish the light of Allah, as Allah says, لَيُطْفِئُوا نُورَ اللَّهِ, that they tried to extinguish the light of Allah. The Sunni ulama would have come and written this, that yeah, Hussein, he died of just being cold, he forgot to pack a blanket, and in the night he ended up dying. Oh, what a shame. That me and you would then believe them and think that Hussein was so heedless, astaghfirullah, that he didn't even pack enough food or a blanket. Now you might say, hang on a second, aren't your views a bit extreme? Are these Sunnis really that bad to come and then write such big lies, that when there was a war and a mass murdering, for them to come and say that no, actually he died of starvation? Yes, unfortunately there are people in the world who are this ill-mannered, who only think about themselves and their own pockets and bellies, that they will come and write anything, just as Abu Hurairah did. Now, you might say, where's the proof? The proof is very simple. Go and pick up a book where the Sunni ulama have written about Yazid. We all know Yazid. He was the son of Muawiyah. He was the person who sent his army to Karbala. And ordered the mass murdering of Imam Hussein just because Imam Hussein would not pay allegiance to him. And what have they come and written? They've written a book, Khalifatul Mazloom, Yazid ibn Muawiyah. Khalifatul Mazloom. A ruler who was oppressed, who many bad things happened to him, who he was a very good person, yet other people treated him ill. Khalifatul Mazloom. And it comes and it starts to bring him up how great he was, and how much of a leader he was, and a plus point for the Muslims. Yet the truth about Yazid is this, that even the Sunnis write in their books, those who are fair enough to write the truth, that many times people found him regurgitating, being sick on the streets because he had drank too much alcohol. Everybody knows that he used to bring his dog into the masjid of Rasoolallah, into the mosque. And when he would mount the pulpit to give a speech to the people, now what he wanted to say I don't know, but when he wanted to give a speech, he would tie the lead of his dog to the pulpit of Rasulullah, that his dog would sit in the masjid. Even a young child knows that dogs are najis, that they are impure animals, that we shouldn't keep them. Yet this is so-called the Khalifa. He would bring his dog and tie it to the minbar of Rasulullah, the same pulpit that Rasulullah used to sit on and give sermons to the people. We are talking about a man who used to sit there with his monkey in his lap while addressing the people. He used to stroke his monkey, play with his monkey while talking to the people. This same monkey, when it died, he ordered 3 days public holiday for mourning his monkey. He ordered the people to give the monkey a ghusl mayyit, which you do for humans. Pick up any risala, read it. For a dead person, you have to give them a burial bath for keeping them clean. A ghusl mayyit, we call it. He ordered the people to give his monkey a ghusl mayyit. He then what? He ordered them to shroud the monkey in a kafan. On the sands of Karbala, he leaves Imam Hussein's body bare, without a kafan, without ghusl, without even burying the body. Yet over here, for his monkey, he asks for a kafan to be shrouded. He then asks the people to bury the monkey, and he himself stands there and gives a salat mayyit, where you pray for the dead body who's just been buried. He led the prayer, and many people, now out of ignorance or fear or wanting to fill their pockets with some money or get into his good books, they also stood behind him and prayed for his monkey. This is the kind of character we're talking about. That he held a fatiha for his monkey. He would stand there at the door like this with a shawl around his neck, mourning and crying. And as people would enter into the mosque, they would pay allegiance to him and say, "We are sorry for your great loss." As if his grandfather has died. As if his, I don't know what, has died. His monkey has died, and they're coming telling him, "We are sad for your great loss." They would go in there, read some Quran for the monkey, and leave. These are the lies that have come into the books. That with this character, they come and they write a book bigging him up. Raise his status. This is a Khalifatul Mazloom. So don't doubt when I say that it's our fault for not taking care of the events. And don't doubt when I say that people are ill enough to come and write such big lies and pull wool over our eyes. It happens. Now, as I mentioned, it's my fault that they have done such a thing. I have let them get away with such dirty tricks. Because if I read the truth, and if I cared about the truth, then I would not have let this happen. I would have stood up and showed people the truth. Maybe I would have written something for myself and published it to show the true character. Maybe I would have sat there and given speeches regarding this matter. So it's our fault that we have let such bad things happen to the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. In Allah's eyes, the likes of myself and people like me are worse than cattle, worse than a bunch of cows. Allah says in the Quran, أُولَٰئِكَ كَالْأَنْعَامِ بَلْ هُمْ أَضَلُّ أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْغَافِلُونَ. That these people are like cattle. Nay, they are worse than cattle. These people are heedless. Allah puts being heedless at a lower position than being an animal. Why? Because we have the intellect, yet we don't care. So it makes us worse than an animal who doesn't have intellect. And what's this verse regarding? This verse is regarding the people and the, Allah calls them invisible beings. We may call them jinn. That Allah has made hell for a lot for this people, the people who are heedless. He says that why? Because they have hearts but they do not grasp the truth. They have eyes with which they do not see the truth. And they have ears, yet they fail to hear the truth. This is the truth. We see, we feel, we hear, but what are we hearing? What are we feeling? What are we seeing? Allah says these people are worse than cattle. Now, these people that have done or gone to great lengths to disrespect Imam Ali alayhi salam have done nothing but just disrespect Imam Ali alayhi salam. Also they disrespected the Prophet Rasoolallah. And by doing that, they've also disrespected Allah. You might say, what link is there between Ali and Rasulullah? Very clear link. A very clear link. Everybody knows the story that when the Christians of Najran came to have a contest or a debate with the Prophet Rasulullah, he turned to them and he said, you bring your sons and I'll bring our sons. You bring your wives and we'll bring our wives, or women. Nisa, women. And you bring yourselves and we will bring ourselves. And then we will ask Allah to put the curse on the people who are lying. Here the word anfusakum. Anfusakum wa anfusana. Where Prophet says, bring your people, yourselves, and we will bring ourselves. Here, who did he bring? He brought Ali ibn Abi Talib. Imam Ali alayhi salam. Now, is Imam Ali alayhi salam his son? No. Is it his women? No. So it only means that this Imam Ali alayhi salam being there falls under himself. Nafs Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Imam Fakhruddin Razi says, a Sunni alim, says very clearly that the very being of Imam Ali salam at that time and place was proof to the people that the Prophet was telling everyone that Ali is like me. He's as if he's my flesh and blood, he's myself. I trust in him that much and I believe in him that much, and he's that good that it's just as if I'm there. Now, as I said previously in the first lecture, that the Sunni ulama like to come and play with the words. They like to say, over here Mawla doesn't really mean anything but friend. And I said it many times. Why did I say it many times? Some of you may think, does Amin have Alzheimer's? Does he have a problem with his memory that he keeps repeating the same thing over and over again? No. I repeat it so that we can remember that this is what they think. That they come and they say that this Mawla, this word Mawla, just means friend, doesn't mean anything of authority. as the Prophet willed it to mean. So I said very kindly that have the word Mawla. Take it for yourself, or give it to you on a gold plate. You want it to mean friend? We accept. Take it as friend. What about the rest? What are you going to do about the other 1 hour and 9 minutes of speech? That now I will show you what other words were used. You can take the 15 times that he used the word wali and mawla. Have it. What are you going to do about the 12 times that he called Imam alayhi salam in his khutbah, in the speech of Ghadir? He called him Imam, leader. What do you want to do about that? Let me guess. You want to tell me that over here Imam also means friend? What do you want to do about the 7 times that he called Imam alayhi salam Amir, commander? As we know, he used to call him Amir al-Mu'mineen, commander of the faithful, or of the believers. What do you want to do about that? Let me guess. You want to tell me it means friend? What do you want to do about the 7 times that he called Imam Ali alayhi salam wasi, executor of will or deputy of affairs? 7 times, not once. Didn't just slip his tongue. He said it 7 times regarding Imam Ali alayhi salam. And let me guess again. You want to tell me that also means friend? What do you want to do about the 4 times that he called Imam Ali alayhi salam akh? In other words, my brother, akhi. Does that mean also friend? Or here, do you want to give it to us and say, no, that just means brother, because they were, for instance, brothers from birth. You want to make up another little story about it. What do you want to do about the 3 times that he called Imam Ali alayhi salam Khalifa? 3 times, not once. 3 times he called Imam Ali alayhi salam in the khutbah of Ghadir Khalifa. Now the funny thing is that you also use the word Khalifa for Abu Bakr, for Umar, for Uthman. And what did you give them in place of this word? In place of the word Khalifa, you gave them full power over the Muslims, over the Ummah of Rasoolallah. You gave them full authority over everyone. Yet, here I want to guess what you're going to tell me the word Khalifa means in regards to Imam Ali alayhi salam. For Abu Bakr it means authority, ruler. For Umar, the same. For Uthman, the same. But for Imam Ali alayhi salam, does it mean friend? No. I wish it meant friend. Because at least to a friend, you don't keep him house-prisoned for 25 years of his life. Only calling him to the mosque when you can't answer a question. And you want to look good in front of the non-Muslims, so you call him to the mosque and you say, Ali, answer these people. Then you send him back home. I wish it meant friend. Because to a friend, you don't take firewood and surround their house and set it alight because they refuse to give allegiance to a power-hungry person. I wish over here Khalifa meant friend. Because with a friend, you don't beat their wife in front of their eyes and kick the door onto her ribs, causing her to miscarry. I wish it meant friend, because with a friend, you don't tie a rope around their neck and drag them through the streets like a sheep. Astaghfirullah. From his house to the mosque to pay allegiance to a power-hungry person. I wish it meant friend, because to a friend you don't give him a spade in place of a pen and tell him to go and dig wells and work in the fields. These are not my words. These are words of a Christian scholar. A Christian scholar. How shameful that we Shia do not stick up for our Imam. Yet a Christian scholar has to come along and say, that on the Day of Judgment I will grab the collars of those people, in other words, the first, the second and the third. I will grab the collars of those people and I will complain to Allah that why did they give Ali a spade and they never let him have a pen to write down all his knowledge, to feed the world this ocean of knowledge that he had. These are words of a Christian scholar. Yet me, people like myself and Sunni and so on and so forth, what have we done with Ali alayhi salam? On one hand, they like to fabricate lies, and on the other hand, we like to sit back, be lazy. We don't care. Go and write what you want about him, it's okay. It's fine. We don't care. That's our character, that's our stance towards Imam Ali alayhi salam, and that's why they've got away with it till now. It's about time that we made a stand, that we educated ourselves, because without education, we're nothing. How many of us knew that the speech was 1 hour 10 minutes long? How many of us knew that the event of Ghadir lasted 3 days long in the burning hot sun? That in the first speech I said the Prophet didn't want to annoy a little child because it was crying, that he rushed the prayer so the lady could get back to her child. Yet then you come and you tell me he wants to keep waiting 120,000 people just so he can stand there and say, by the way everybody, this Ali, he's my friend. Then I'm afraid if that was the case, I would have to agree with the words of Omar, where while the Prophet was on his deathbed, he asked for a paper and pen to write his will in front of the companions and his family. And Omar came and said, leave this old crazy man. Leave him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Maybe I would have to agree with him, na'udhu billah, that the Prophet has gone a bit crazy to keep 120,000 people in the burning hot sun for 3 days to stand there and say, Ali is my friend. This isn't the case. You've seen how many times he used different words to bring up the status of Ali alayhi salam. Wasi, Wali, Mawla, Khalifa, Akhi. These are all big words. He also calls Imam alayhi salam by the title of Hadi 3 times, which means a guide for the people. Hadi. What do you want to do with all these words? Come and fool us, tell us that Mawla means friend. Fine, we accept. What about Khalifa? What about Amir? Wasi? Akhi? Come on. All you people who are so high and educated in Arabic grammar that you can come and tell us that Mawla here means friend. Come and tell us what the rest mean. Please, I beg you. Come and tell me I'm wrong. Come and tell me that the Prophet made a mistake in announcing these words for Ali ibn Abi Talib. Now, the verse that you heard at the very beginning of the lecture, يُرِيدُونَ لِيُطْفِئُوا نُورَ اللَّهِ بِأَفْوَاهِهِمْ وَاللَّهُ مُتِمُّ نُورِهِ وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْكَافِرُونَ. This is a very big verse, that Allah is saying that their aim, they desire to extinguish the light of Allah. لَيُطْفِئُوا نُورَ اللَّهِ بِأَفْوَاهِهِمْ, with their words, with their tongues. In other words, with their sayings. They've come and they've written books with lies, trying to extinguish the light of Allah, Ali ibn Abi Talib. Yet Allah says that no matter how much they try, Allah will surely make the truth stand. وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْكَافِرُونَ. No matter how much the unbelievers try to extinguish Allah's light, that He will surely make it known to people. Now, I think that's sufficient for the second session, for us just to realize that this khutbah of Ghadir, which I mentioned it to be 1 hour 10 minutes, we've had a little bit of a taster of what words were used. There's so much more to talk about this khutbah, so much more, that it's a shame that we don't know about it. If only we educated ourselves just a little bit, then we would be able to stand in debates with these people. Inshallah, may Imam Ali alayhi salam give us the tawfiq to do this Ghadir a little bit of justice, to make people know that his status, what it really is, as opposed to what we have heard it to be. To arm ourselves with verses, with knowledge of what happened, of what Rasoolallah said in regards to Imam Ali alayhi salam, so that we may be able to show people the truth. Now, when I said in the first speech, when I mentioned Sunni, I don't mean all the Sunni brothers and sisters that you see in university, in the workplaces, no. As I mentioned, a lot of them don't know the truth, same as us, because we don't read books. We don't spend time picking up books to see what has been said, what was the truth, what are the true narrations. All we do is we sit there and listen to someone speaking, and we accept their word as truth. And unfortunately, we have very many misguided people in high positions of power who use their so-called status to feed people with lies, the same way Abu Hurairah did. Don't take my word, X, Y, or Z's word. Go and research for yourself. Type it into Google, Khutbah of Ghadir, and read it. Read it for yourself, see what was said by Rasulullah. And then you tell me whether the word Mawla here means friend. I pray that we all are guided to the truth, all of us, guided towards the truth, and that we stick up for the truth, that we defend it with our lives, with our blood. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى أهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآله. كيف يهدي الله قوما كفروا بعد إيمانهم? How can Allah bestow His guidance upon a people who turned to disbelief after having believed? Everyone who was there saw clearly with their own eyes. They didn't need to rely on somebody else's eyes or somebody else's ears. Now we're beginning to realize how much of a masterpiece this covering is. That people have done a great job to fool me and you about what really took place. That I didn't want to give this message because I know that among you are munafiqs, hypocrites, people who will twist my words. And that's why Allah says in that same verse that don't worry, Allah will protect you from the people. These same people, why should the Prophet need protection from believers?